Hello, this is Dr. Victoria Skirbo, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Just recently I did a numerology and a Kabbalistic evaluation of Donald Trump, and so if you would like to see that, that is on my YouTube channel, and it is I've got a lot of positive feedback from it, and so I thought that the next person I might do is James Comey. I've actually wanted to do this for a while, but as we know, things get in the way in our lives, right? We have to deal with them. So this is a little late, but I still think that we can get some really good information. Now, what I want to say before I get started here is that I personally did not know all that much about James Comey. I can't say that I know that much about him besides what I've read on Wikipedia and what I have seen in the news. And so I don't have an opinion either way about this gentleman, although he does seem to act in accordance, of course, with his numbers and his Kabbalah. So it'd be a very interesting, an interesting look into this person. And so let's get started with that. Okay, so let's look at James Comey's vital information. Okay, so James Comey, his full name is James Brian Comey. B-R-I-E-N, and his date of birth is December 14th, where do we have it here? December 14th, 1960. And so right now he is 56 years old. He just had his birthday this past December. A couple of interesting just things about already in connection with Donald Trump is that they are both born on the 14th of the month. Generally, people born on the 14th of the month are a little unusual in life, and so you see, if you happen to be born on the 14th, you might feel that to be true. 14 over 5, the vibration of 14 over 5 is the temperance vibration, and so people born on the 14th do need to avoid extremes. And we know that certainly extremes have gotten Donald Trump into trouble, and chances are extremes would get James Comey into trouble as well. And so let's look at the soul and quiescent vibration. Now, if we remember from looking at Donald Trump's numbers, the soul vibration is the vowels all added up. The soul is the inner feminine side. The quiescent is the outer masculine side. And the quiescent is all the consonants added up. And if we add all his vowels up, we get a 31-4 vibration as a soul vibration. And if we add all his consonants, we get a 36/9 vibration. What's interesting about these two vibrations is these two vibrations are associated with fire. 31/4 is associated with the sign of Leo. 36/9 is associated with the planet of Sagittarius. James Comey has his sun in Sagittarius. If we add these two numbers up together, we get his expression number. And his expression number, I don't know, can you see that over here? Let me just do this. His expression number, when you add 31 and 36 together, is a 67/4 vibration. Now this is a earth vibration. The 67/4 vibration is an earth vibration. And so we have fire, and he balances it through earth. So your soul vibration and your quiescent are things that you have already. These are things that you're comfortable with. The soul is the more inner part of self. The outer personality are talents and abilities that we bring in from other lives. And so let's look at the quiescent, because he is a man, and this is the James Comey that we would see, because the quiescent expresses itself that way. And so this 36/9 vibration is somebody who is very philosophical. This person has a definite philosophy of life. And why do I say that? Well, first of all, 36/9 is associated with the sign of Sagittarius, again, his sun sign. And so we have somebody here who is philosophical, perhaps broad-minded. This 36-9 can come across as somebody who's narrow-minded as well, although he does not strike me as narrow-minded. What he does strike me as is perhaps opinionated, and that is very much a Sagittarian quality. The 31/4, the inner vibration, this is a very tumultuous vibration. Fire is an energy that's hard to contain, and the 4 as the base number is about containment. 4 is about containment. It's how do we bring energy to a form that can be grounded, okay, and use it to create something. And so he has this energy deep within him. He may or may not be aware of this, and the only person who could really answer that would be the people closest to him. But we're going to talk about some interesting things when we get to the Tree of Life about this particular number. Okay? So we have this very fiery vibration, but in order for him to find balance, he needs to move to this earth vibration, this 67/4 vibration, which is a Taurus energy. Okay? And I'm going to show you the cards associated, with these vibrations. Okay, let me just grab my Rider-Waite deck, which is the deck I like to use for looking at, looking at the symbology. This is the 36/9 vibration, the 10 of Wands. Now this card is an interesting card. When I get this card in a reading or I'm doing a reading on somebody, I tell somebody this is somebody who has too much going on. So much stuff, and yet the amount of information that they have is blocking their view. So there is a sense of taking on too much responsibility and scattering your forces with this. There is a better way to move forward, and you have to first organize yourself. Now, from what we can tell, James Comey has learned to be very organized in his approach to life, and especially in his approach to work. Okay, so we see that. So this is the quiescent vibration, the 36/9 vibration. We'll pull that out of the deck. Okay, I have his expression. Oh, there's his path of life. I just want to get that soul vibration so you can get an idea of what's deep inside of James Comey that, of course, we may not see. And when you see the card, you'll say, I don't see that. And for good reason, because he keeps it to himself, or he may be of the ilk that he is not even aware of that part of himself. Although I'd have to say, I think he probably is, just because of the type of work he's decided to do. This is the soul vibration of James Comey, the 5 of Wands. So this is kind of a melee. People are fighting with each other, but it's not. They're using sticks. They're not using swords, and so this is a vibration that is very, very active. So he has a very, very active soul vibration, and yet it needs to be contained. All this action needs to be contained to be utilized, because 4 is all about utilization, really. Okay, so that's his outer. Okay, hold on one second. Sorry about this. So this is his inner, and this is his outer, and you can see that they're both wands, so they're both fire. Now his expression number is this card right here, the 67/4 vibration. This is the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles, in order for James Comey to have balance in his life, he needs to sit with the information. He also needs to follow the money, so that's interesting. But in this card, we have a knight. Now, compared to the other knights in the deck, this guy is sort of just sitting. And what he's doing is he's sitting and he's looking over the fields. He's looking over the the work and the toil that he has put into his fields. He's evaluating. He's sitting back on his horse. He's not sitting forward. He's not, his horse isn't rearing or running, or he really is, this is a very practical, this is somebody with a practical nature. And so he really needs to look at life in a very practical way. And this helps to balance his inner and outer self. It helps to balance his fire. And for him, and I don't know anything about this, but I will say how his money situation will generally determine how well he's balancing his inner and outer self. Because if he's balancing it, he's being careful with his money. Or if not his money, his resources. He needs to be careful with the resources that he has. Okay. And next thing we're going to talk about is his path of life. And I'll do that in 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. So let's talk about James Comey's path of life. Now remember, the path of life is his birth date. And so we have December 14th, 1960. If we add that up, December is a 12, 14, of course, is a 14, 1960 is a 16. We add that all up together and we get a 42/6 vibration. Now what's interesting is that the life lesson is not something that we're necessarily all that adept at. It has to do with what we're learning in this lifetime. And so he has the 42/6 vibration is associated with this card right here, which is the Two of Cups. Now the Two of Cups is usually associated with love, right? Relationship. But if we look at this card, we have two people, a man and a woman, holding a chalice that they're sharing between them. And above the chalice we have the head of a lion with the wings of an angel, or the wings of a bird. And this card is often associated with raising up our carnal desires to a spiritual level. Okay? Now what can be a problem with this card is that you have very, very high expectations about your relationship. So you hold yourself and your relationships up to a very, very high standard, which can be easily disappointed. Okay, so that is a challenge with this number. The base number of the 42/6 vibration is a 6, and 6 is about responsibility. And so to a certain extent in this lifetime, James Comey is learning what is his responsibility and what is not his responsibility. Okay? When we get to the Tree of Life, there's some more interesting insights on that. And so here we have somebody who's a very fiery persona, and yet he's being required to learn about his feelings and his emotions. Okay? And then let's talk about his shadow vibration. And if we remember from when I did the president's numbers, shadow vibration is the first name in the case of James Comey, of course it's James, added to the date of birth, the day, the actual day. And so we have James vibrates to a 12/3 vibration. The date is a 14, and so his shadow vibration is a 26/8. Now what's interesting about 26/8 is this is a vibration that is also associated with Sagittarius. And so he has both the positive and negative attributes of Sagittarius in his numerology chart. And here we have the card associated with that vibration, the 26/8. Here we have the Page of Wands. This card, when it comes up in a reading, is often associated with messages and so and information. Okay, and so here's somebody who could have difficulty discerning what information is appropriate to be put out and what information is needs to be held back. In part, that information is associated with his belief system. And so his belief systems will oftentimes cause him to do something that perhaps wasn't the wisest thing to do. Sagittarius is about wisdom, and yet it's also about learning, and it's about your beliefs and testing your beliefs. Now, the 8 vibration, the bottom number of the 26-8 vibration, is about karma. And so what you give out, you get back. And so having this as his shadow, if he does something wrong, he will feel it. It will come right back to him, because that 8 is the infinity sign on its side. It's like you put it out and it comes right back. It's like a boomerang. And so he learns that this is part of his learning curve, associated with his belief, what is true. Okay, Sagittarius is all about truth. So here is somebody who is a truth seeker, but who can be influenced negatively by his own beliefs.
Okay, so here we have James Comey's Tree of Life and his Divine Triangle. I want to look at both of these things. The first thing I want to look at is his Tree of Life. So let's just kind of pull in on this. Okay. And here we see where he has his major numbers. Now, his soul vibration, this is the inner side of James Comey, is right there in Geburah. Geburah, that 31-4 vibration. Now, Geburah as a Sephiroth is associated with the planet Mars. And so it has to do with, it's a very action-oriented place. Geburah is also associated with instant karma. So this is somebody who knows on a soul level that if he does something that is improper, then he will pay for it. And he will pay for it a lot harder than even the person who perhaps deserves it more. So this is the sign of somebody, a very old soul, who has been in a situation where he's had to make judgments over and over again. And so this is somebody who's very, very comfortable with, bringing down the sword, making the judgment, the whole idea of like Solomon. Now, if you can see right next to the word Geburah is the word throat. And so if we pull out a little bit, we'll see that this particular place on the Tree of Life is associated with the throat chakra, meaning that in order for him to be in a good relationship with his soul, he must always speak his mind, but he must speak it very, very carefully, because if he says the wrong thing, he will get smacked down for it. Okay, now let's pan out a little bit and go down here. And here we have Malkuth. Okay, so now we're down here in Malkuth. Now this is his quiescent, 36-9 vibration. Malkuth is the Sephiroth associated with the earth plane and the root chakra. And so this has to do with issues of living on earth. There's association in Malkuth with the physical body. It's also a place of famous people. So if you have major numbers in Malkuth, you become famous. Donald Trump has his path of life down here in Malkuth. And because his shadow is also here, he's not only famous for what he does, but he's also famous for what he does wrong. And so you can see that there, having the shadow down there. What do I want to say about this? I'm going to pull out a little bit so we get a better view of the Tree of Life here. There was something I wanted to say about this. Oh yes, 9 as a vibration is associated with the best and the worst in people. And so 9 is often associated with crime. And we can see that he was the top dog in the FBI. And so with that 31-4 vibration as a soul vibration are connected to Mars, and that 36-9 vibration with the 9 there, this is somebody who would have been very, very good at their job. Okay, this is a person who is a good pick for the director of the FBI. Now, let's go to the center of the tree, and here we have Tiphereth. And Tiphereth is the heart chakra. And so for him to be balanced, that's the expression number, he needs to be practical, which is connected to that Taurus vibration, which is connected to that Knight of Pentacles. But he also needs to be heart-centered. And so he really needs to look inside his own heart to find balance within him. Okay? And so so when you have your expression in Tiphereth in the heart chakra, relationships become very important for you. And so he also needs to foster good relationships with other people. And when he was in the FBI, he had good relationships. He had a good relationship with his fellow agents. Okay, so here we are looking at James Comey's Divine Triangle. And we can see that he has his 42/6 life lesson right in the center, in the actual triangle part of the Divine Triangle. On the left, we see his youth square, and we see that he has a 36-9 vibration there. Remember that his quiescent, his outer personality vibration, is a 36-9. So when we see the 36-9 as a quiescent, or any number as the quiescent and the youth square, we know that in his most recent life, he did, in fact, deal with the same issues and the same maybe even the same work. We know that from his biography that his dad was actually a police officer. And so the youth square does reflect things about your family of origin as well. But having the 9 there in the youth square connected to your past life, it's very possible that in his past life, he very well could have been somebody in law enforcement, or as a judge, or something in the law. But the 9 can connote that a crime occurred, or some sort of betrayal. So here's somebody who comes in with the idea that that he could be betrayed. And so that could be one of his major issues as to why he is so careful about certain things and taking good notes and stuff. He wants to make sure that there's proof. Okay, so that's the 36-9 in his youth square. Now, if we come down to his power square, let me pull that in. We see that we have a 40/4 vibration here. 40/4 is a vibration associated with Pisces. Now, what's interesting about this is that he was in school, he was a theology and a chemistry major, which is very interesting because theology certainly has to do with Pisces, and I think chemistry does as well. The 40/4 vibration is the 4 brought up to the God force, so it is a higher vibration than just a 4. And so there is a spirituality here, and we can see that in his choice of majors, and from what people say, he's a pretty, I don't know if I want to say devout person, but certainly idealistic perhaps, and interested in things like religion and spirituality and justice. Now, if we look down at the bottom of his chart, we have from age 36 to age 45. We know that that's always a significant point in the power square. We have the 19/1 vibration because this is the end of his name, James. The S is a 19/1 vibration. And the S is, so there's a certain amount of having to keep, silent here. But the 19/1 is a karmic number. It's a very powerful and important number, and it's connected to many, many things. But generally, when we're on a 19/1 vibration, or we have a 19/1 vibration in our chart, this is our soul came in to do a specific job. And so that is sort of the base of his power. So this is somebody who is very serious and takes life very seriously. Now, if we move up to where he is now, he is 50. Oh, hold on one second. Wrong direction. Okay, here we go. He is 56 years old now, and so he is on this line that's in yellow. Let me pull that in a little bit closer. Here we go. And he's on an R line, okay, an R line. And this is the second letter of his second name, Brian. And the R vibrates to an 18-9 vibration. The 9 is about healing. The 9 is about forgiveness. The 9 is about broad perspectives. The 18-9 is especially associated with the moon in a chart. And I'm trying to think of what sign his moon is in. Scorpio. He could have a Libra or a Scorpio moon. I tend to think, because of the type of work that he does, it's more on the Scorpio side, but there is a chance that he has a Libra moon. So we don't really know because we don't have a time of day. But what I want to say about the 18-9 vibration is this is a vibration where we learn that we cannot save other people. That it's not about saving things, but it's about loving things and accepting things and learning that we are all responsible for ourselves. So this is a line where we learn that people can, the only way that people can be saved is if they themselves choose to do it. So I don't know what that means in his life at this point, because as I said, I don't really know what his life outside of what we see on television is about. Now, I'm going to pull out just a little, and we're going to go to his wisdom square. This is a 48-3 vibration. And the only thing I want to say about this, because he's just starting his wisdom square, is that with the 48-3, there's a book in here somewhere. So expect a book. It might come much later, but it's certainly in the offing for him. So that is his divine triangle, and it's been a real pleasure. If you have any questions about this, or any comments, or any information really about James Comey that may be of help in this evaluation, please do share it with me. Otherwise, I will see you again with the next one, and I believe the next person we're going to do is Jared Kushner, who's in a whole lot of hurt. Oh, yeah, one other thing I want to point out. James Comey's power square is a 40/4. This just happens to be the life lesson of Donald Trump. So there you go. Have yourself a great day. Bye.